I knew we were going to be a power couple. Like I felt like I knew that. Did you know that?
Yeah, I knew we were both so determined, and I think that was like part of the pedigree of what worked, like right off the bat. And so I think the big thing between both of us, we both talked big and dreamed big. And so sometimes when you manifest those things and you think of it that way, it allows you to carve that path, you know?
Was it ever a turn off for you? Like always talked about my dreams, always talked about money. We've always talked about money from like very beginning, our goals. Was that ever a turn off for you on like the amount that I talked about all this stuff? Or was it like...
Absolutely not.
No?
My mom, I grew up with a powerhouse of a mom who worked her butt off. On top of that, my sister, who was as well a very highly educated, determined woman. I never saw it as anything other than inspiration. I think it pushed each of us to want to do better, work harder, be successful. That's what we thrive. That's what we were working so hard towards.
Good morning and welcome to the CEO School podcast. I'm your host, Suneera Madhani, and today is such a special episode for me today. And I think this is going to be just so awesome for all of you, because today I have invited a very special human in my life in honor of Father's Day this week. And that special human is none other than my dear husband, Fazail Madhani. Faisal, welcome back to the CEO School podcast.
Happy to be back. I know you called in the big guns today, so I'm excited to join, you know?
Well, thank you for saying yes. So this morning I'm leaving for the studio and we had a cancellation today for one of my interviews. And I was like, I've been wanting...
so I'm a backup?
No. You're not a backup. You're not. I've been wanting to have you on the podcast first. I've asked you for so long to come on the podcast. You're a hard no every time. And we got to have you. It's been 4 years since you've been on the show?
Wow. Yeah, I mean, time flies when you're having fun, but yeah, I can't believe it's 4 years. That's
This morning, here's how it went down. I really want to do this episode. I know you had a really crazy calendar. Cancellation happened, and I'm like, Faze, hi, can you come to the studio today? He's like, why? What do you need? And it's always around like something around fixing something, electronics. Carlos needs something. I don't know. And I'm like, I would love for you to just come onto the podcast. And he's like, no, not today. We can plan for it for another day. I'm like, but it's Father's Day, and how fun would it be to have a Father's Day episode? And you said, yes. You said, fine, I'll do it. 30 minutes. You got 30 minutes. So we're going to do this episode. I'm going to try to, I said 30 to 40 minutes is what I need. And then he's like, do I have to be on camera? Yeah, you have to be on camera. Okay, well, thank you for being here today. I'm super, super pumped. And are you excited to be here?
I am excited. I'm actually excited, and I'm actually appreciative of all the things that you do, because, like, as much as I've seen so many of your episodes and watched so many episodes, you make it seem so effortless and easy. So, like, part of me gets a little bit of anxiety being on camera. So as for you, it's so comfortable, but maybe that's my hesitation to know. But then I just, sometimes you just got to lean in and step up when you got to step up. So
I love you. Well, thank you. And totally relax.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's just you, me, and your buddy Carlos here. Love your hat. Faisal's definitely the hat guy.
Soon to be new hat company coming your way. So
Ooh,
a little sneak peek of what's
already
to come.
announcing stuff. I like it. You heard it here first. Well, okay. So what can you share just a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey? It doesn't have to be the full version, just like high level. What do you do, Mr. Madhani?
At first, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I came from an immigrant background. My parents were, they worked extremely hard. My parents were born in East Africa, Tanzania, and, grew up in a 800 square foot shack with no running water, no electricity. And, they worked their butt off to get an education, to get, the American dream, to apply for a residency, to come to the United States, to have an opportunity to give their kids a better life. And so and you were born in Tanzania. I was born in Tanzania.
And we're going to Tanzania.
Which I'm excited for this summer.
I'm
taking the girls and the family back, and we're excited. I'm excited to go back home.
I'm excited to cry just listening to just even thinking about it, to go back to your home village.
Yeah, it's super exciting. And so from the get-go, my parents worked really hard. They never made us feel as if we couldn't do anything, but they worked around the clock. And as a kid, you saw it and you appreciated it, but you don't really appreciate it as much as when you become a parent. and the sacrifices and the things that you do for your kids, and so many things they've probably done for us along the way that I probably never even recognized, but more so now as I become a dad. But yeah, so along that way, we've always just been hustlers. Every business that my parents were we were there on the weekends or the evenings and working, whether it was dry cleaners or gas stations or wherever. So a real estate, all of us, my brother, my sister, we were somehow incorporated within that work culture. So working hard was something that was just built in our pedigree from the very beginning. And I think that's always just resonated with me. And so, as we went to school at University of Florida, studied
We did not
finance.
meet at UF.
Yeah.
But we did both go to UF.
And from there, real estate was always something I was passionate about. And when I started that journey early on, I bit off a little bit more than I could chew and put myself in a over-levered position, which we ended up getting out of when the markets in mid-2000s faltered with the credit defaults and so forth. And that's when I went back to school to at that point, to become potentially an air traffic controller because I was looking for a job to support my then new girlfriend at the time. And then from there,
So we both did finance. So
correct.
we both did finance at UF. How did we meet? Why don't we tell the audience how we met?
I think we have different stories for this first get together, but
we have the same story. You just have a different version of the story.
This was her junior year at University of Florida, so I was 3 years ahead of her, and we didn't know each other at that time. That summer prior to her senior year, she decided she was going to do an internship in South Florida. And
Faisal was born in Tanzania but raised in Miami.
Yes, so I lived in South Florida, and Suneera was staying at her uncle's house for the summer, which was 4 houses down from mine. We were friends with her uncle, and in that summer we started hanging out with one another, and it was our first meetup, from my memory, was at her uncle's local poker game, where he would invite a few folks in, and we would play cards and have drinks in the evening, and it was a lot of fun. One of the nights I was fortunate enough to sit next to Suneera, and obviously a little bit nervous at the time, but to my surprise, somebody was playing footsies with me underneath the table.
I was not playing footsies with you under the table. That is the part of the story.
I don't know if it was her flirting with me, or what, if it was just because I was just dominating the table at the time, so she was just trying to throw my game off.
That's your recollection. I was not playing footsies. I was totally taking your money at the poker table.
But not only did I win at that poker table, but I also won my first date. So for me, it was like a win-win.
That is it. We did meet at a poker table, and through mutual connections and organically in college. I was going back for my senior year, and we've never stopped dating. That was
and our first date was 8/8/2008.
8808. That's actually a very, now that I'm into numerology, it's literally the luckiest fortune number, 888. Did you know that?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of luck involved. Right place, right time.
I know.
I don't know. It's been an incredible journey. That's been the best thing in my life. So I'm appreciative of it all and the life that we've built, and we've worked hard from it.
We're gonna rewind. But
yeah. So I'll get back to the quickly to wrap up the entrepreneurial side. So from there, as I was completed my degree for air traffic control, there was about a year placement to get to Oklahoma at that time on how air traffic controllers are placed. And in that time frame, I had a friend that was in the business of distributing cell phones and buying, selling them, and exporting them out to other markets where there wasn't supply chains available. And so I got introduced to that business and quickly got addicted to it. It was a fun business where simple supply demand. If you're able to ascertain a product, there was a demand for it, which created normal economic value. And so I learned that business extremely fast, and then I catapulted that business into what was over $200 million in revenue business. That just it was an incredible story.
It really is. Yeah. I think that people don't know this about. I think people do know that we're both entrepreneurs, but Faisal's story is my favorite entrepreneur. You're my favorite entrepreneur story. I remember when we were all living, me, you, and my brother, back in my parents' house because I was starting Fat Merchant. You and Sal, so him and my brother were actually the first original business partners before my brother and I became business partners. Y'all owned a burger restaurant called Burger Bar, which was alcoholic beverages. This is like what 20-year-olds do when they start a business. And it was a great concept. You guys got beer into Simon Mall. Like, entrepreneurship has just always been around our families. And I think that is like, no matter what we did in college, and you went off to go work at Goldman Sachs, I think, post afterwards. I went off to go work in financial services. Sal went off to go work at Deloitte. Like, we've all had our like mini corporate stints. And then we're like, yeah, we're not working for any, like, we're going to figure it out ourselves. But I remember when we were figuring it out, we literally had no money. Like, we literally were like young, dumb, and broke, right? Like, and not dumb, but I'm thinking of that song right now. What's that song? Young, dumb, young, dumb, and broke. Who sings that?
I think it's Khalid.
It's Khalid. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but it was like the best time too.
Well,
but we were all living at my mom's house, at my parents' house.
I think when you're the beauty, and this is where we go back to support structures and what it takes for us to go out and try anything that we wanted to. And not a lot of people have that opportunity. And I think that's where things change, right? Like, even though some of the business that we started earlier, they did not succeed, but in reality, it was the best lesson that could have happened to us in those circumstances, because
we failed. Like, everything failed.
But we learned what it was to grind, what it was to work 6-7 days a week, 10, 14-hour days. And we were, around the clock, and we understood what it's like to balance a checkbook, to make sure ends meet, to hit payroll, to manage employees, to making sure that you're thinking not just working in the business, but on the business, and all those things. And so you learn how to deal with contract negotiations, rent reductions, or whatever it was at that point. In our circumstance, was on the restaurant side, which in reality is probably the hardest and stupidest business to start as your first business. It takes a lot of hustle, and you really got to be fully committed. And I think the reality was we had to go through those failures in order for us to learn and to not make those same mistakes moving forward. So.
Yeah. You know what I love about, like, just thinking about what you're saying right now, and I haven't thought about this in this way. I love that all of our journeys, like, we failed together independently, right? Like, the restaurant was failing with you and Sal. I was failing at working I was like literally shoving terminals in the trunk of my car, trying to, like,
in the Volkswagen Beetle.
In my Beetle. Yeah, literally. I'm like, I'm going to go sell one customer today. Like, we were failing together, and we were all coming up together too. So what is, like, really interesting about our stories, it wasn't like your come up came first, and then we had, like, all of this capital and cash and experience, and then we got to, like, apply it to what I was building, or that my come up came first and then we were able to fund your business, or like, it literally, our failures, we were failing together. And then when we were growing, we were really all growing together. And I think that is, like, a really cool, like, I think not just our, like, loves, we've been together, I don't know, 17 years now. Like, I literally feel like we're still the same. Like, I feel so young still, like, in our, like, how we operate in our lives. Like, I don't feel like it's been 20 years of our lives together in that way. But I love that we were able to really build our lives together. And I think that's really, really special. I feel like the luckiest because we do have, like, our family, our support, but everything has always been, like, it's always been equal. And that's what I really love about even my partnership with my brother is, like, he's been part of this journey with us.
Yeah, I feel like it's been the three of us.
It's been the three of us.
Yeah, it's been the three of us.
It really has been the three of us forever. And we've all really just grown together, come up together. And it wasn't any one person's thing. Like, it really was this one team thing that it was our value system. But your story is incredible, Faisal. While we're operating, and then Sal quit his job, he also moved back home to help, build Fat Merchant to what it was. Him and I are now running the business. Y'all turn off the, like, burger bar. So you, like, close down a business, which is so hard to do, to, like, to
Yeah,
say,
because you put time, you put yours into a business, and then to especially when you're you in your mindset, you're a you just don't give up on things easy. It doesn't sit well with you. Like failure is typically never an option in our household. Like you work till you figure it out, and it's not that we couldn't figure it out. We just realized that I remember this moment, and it's something that Sal and I talk about often. It was maybe 2.5 years into this, where it was Valentine's Day,
I hate
and
this
we
story.
had to I was looking where I was like, I want to get something for Suneera, and we went to at the mall
It makes me
because
cry every time.
it was K Jewelers, and we look at we were like, oh, what should we get? And we were balling on a budget, and reality is we had like $600 in our account, and maybe a little. And this is Sal and I joined together, and your brother, the most selfless human being in this planet Earth, was like, let's spend everything to get it to my sister, but irrelevant. He knew it was important, and I think it was that moment. We purchased it. We purchased this bracelet or necklace it was, and on the way home, we both kind of like didn't say anything, but we both realized that it was time to kind of figure something out, because the reality is we work hard, but we love to play hard, and we realized that as much as we've learned from this, it was time to make a new choice, because this wasn't something that we wanted. This isn't the life that we wanted to continue with. And the reality was like,
Because you couldn't afford to get the bracelet
yeah,
or
because
the necklace.
yeah, exactly. When you put 2 years into something, it's a long time to not still see some fruits of that labor. And so the reality is it wasn't going to support not just one of us, but both of us. And we realized that it was time to move on. So yeah, sometimes those decisions are not easy, but they have to be done. And you can delay the inevitable, or you can just grab the horn by the bull and just move forward. So
I always get emotional around that story, because it's so hard when you put so much work into it, and you could sit there and people they don't know how to quit either. Like, when is the right time to actually say it's time to turn something off as well?
yeah.
And when you make that decision, so many other opportunities opened up, and that's exactly what happened with you for the cell phone business. And in your first year in business, you did 16 million that year. At the end of that year, like,
end of the year.
literally,
We started halfway through the year that it was this hockey puck movement. When 6 months we did $500,000, and literally the following year we were at just a little over $15 million, which was it was kind of that moment where I realized that I had something of an opportunity. And it's funny because that's when air traffic control called, like, hey, we have a placement for you. And
it was
I
in
said,
Chicago, right?
yeah. And then I just said, thank you, but no thank you. I figured out what I kind of want to do. And so I think that was things happen for a reason. I mean, you work hard to create all these options for yourself. And I think as an entrepreneur, it's good to have options. Sometimes that's not an opportunity for a lot of entrepreneurs, but if you try to position yourself to at least navigate through in the early part of your entrepreneurial journey, it allows you to at least have some fallback plans in case, just in case. Fortunately for me, I didn't have to fall back, and that worked out well for.
That's incredible. I mean, it really was a wild ride, and that was 16 million in revenue. So I also think that people assume, which this is, I want to, we're not going to make this a business episode, so we're not going to go, actually, I'm going to pull myself back, but that doesn't mean that was our take home.
Yeah.
It wasn't your take home. We never, even in our business, like, as I was scaling, like, we didn't even have the capital to separate, to like pull money from one business to another. And so for, avoidance of doubt,
just to give perspective, those margins back then are like, you're talking about like 3 to 5%, like,
right?
Even if that,
but even so, it was so phenomenal. But we were literally both building at the same time, and there's so many memories. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we don't need to go back in our lives and our little saga here, but I do have some, like, I've literally was thinking through, like, what am I going to ask you? And I have some juicy stuff that I really want to know. And my first question, just to kind of warm you up here, is, when we met, did you have any idea what you were signing up for?
Zero idea. I feel like I'm on a roller coaster with no seatbelts, Sometimes you're going to go really high, you're going to go really low, you're going to go left, right, you're going to go fast as shit, and sometimes you're going to go slow down as you're just climbing slowly, and then all of a sudden you just like rocket your way down this roller coaster. And so what an incredible journey. I don't know. It's yeah, I genuinely had no clue, you know?
Okay. I agree. I agree. I didn't even know myself back then. Like I didn't know. I feel like there was a part of us that knew, like both of us. Like I feel like when I met you, I knew we were gonna be a power couple. Like I felt like I knew that. Did you know that?
Yeah, I knew we were both so determined, and I think that was like part of the pedigree of what worked, like right off the bat. And so I think the big thing between both of us, we both talked big and dreamed big. And so sometimes when you manifest those things and you think of it that way, it allows you to carve that path, you know?
Was it ever a turnoff for you on like, because I've always talked about, have I like always talked about my dreams, always talked about money. It's never been like, we've always talked about money from like very beginning, our goals. We're both finance, like, was that ever a turnoff for you on like the amount that I talked about all this stuff? Or was it like,
Absolutely not.
no?
My mom, I grew up with a powerhouse of a mom who worked her butt off and was a pharmacist that supported us, and on top of that, my sister, who was as well a very highly educated, determined woman. And so for me, I never saw it as anything other than inspiration. I think it pushed each of us to want to do better, work harder, and be successful. That's what we thrive. That's what we were working so hard towards. We want to live the life that we dreamed of. And so
That was a sex for me, like the sexiest part about you, like when we met, was your level of ambition. Like I feel like it wasn't ever about like I always felt like we were gonna figure it out together. And I loved how like we both were just like, I loved your mentality. Like I still love your
yeah,
mentality
I think
around
there
it.
was
Like
there
that's
were,
our favorite. That's my favorite thing to do on date night, is to still think about what are the deals that we're doing, what are the things that we're
yeah.
working on.
Yeah, and I think that was the best part, right? Where we can feed ideas off one another and not just take it as criticism or it
But is
was
it like ever too much? Like, are you ever like, oh, girl? Like for real? Like, is it like,
I mean, think
am I
about
too much? Am I masculine sometimes at home? Like, one of
no.
our friends said that actually recently. I didn't tell you that, and it really bothered me. Of like, I don't know what he said. I'm not like, it was like in some context around like, well, you run the house, and I'm like, no, that's not at all how it is in our home. But how is it in our home?
I always saw you, and I have always seen everyone in my family and so forth as equal opportunity. I never looked at it as she's a woman or a man, and so like, I never saw it as such. I think for me it was, if there is an opportunity where we can support or I could support you to have an incredible outcome and it sacrifices something on my side, so be it. At the end of the day, it was like we were supposed to be each other's crutches through those moments. And so I think for me, I never have, and I still to this day, with even all the success and things that have happened, I've never once even the background be like, oh, I should, or like I never feel it. Never, I don't know. I never. It's never intimidating for me. It's actually inspiring, and so supporting each other through
I love
all of
you.
the ups has been fun. I never get intimidated by that.
I 100% feel that way with you. That is like 100% how I feel. And I feel so lucky for that, because I'm in so many rooms with women and they don't feel that way with their partners. And they feel like they might, their partner feels emasculated, or their partner, like it's not that it takes away from their partner's like light or anything, but there's some sort of like role, it does like they don't feel the same way that I feel on that level of support. I feel so lucky, and I really do feel like you've never felt intimidated by it. Like it's always been, you've been my biggest cheerleader through all of it, and I just appreciate that. And I know it's always been that way for us, and I do think it's probably because your mom is so strong. Like your mom, is both your parents are incredible, right? Your parents are incredible. They're both also your mom is a doctor of pharmacy. Your father was entrepreneurial,
Yeah.
but they both made it work together. So you had examples of a working mom too. I think that does make a difference in how you view the world, is how you see your father probably treat your mom, your mother's success. She was at the top of her like in school, like everything. Like your mom has always been like the highest level of excellence, like running
Absolutely.
a marathon, like things that like most
putting your mind
Indian
to
moms
something and seeing it
don't
through.
do. Your
Yeah.
your mom was like always the go-getter in
Yeah.
that way, and I think that is probably a huge reason why. So shout out to my awesome, thinking about your mom makes me want to cry too. My awesome mother-in-law, your sister also, right? Like Sabrina was like the first trader on the New York Stock Exchange floor. Like she was one that I looked up to when I was dating you to say, wow, like she was, when I was in finance and I was going to school, she was the one that I was like, man, your sister is such a
in
baddie.
our family, we didn't know what that, those kind of jobs and those kind of opportunities for us. For my sister was the first one in the family to do something along those lines, and yeah, she was determined. She was, she was fearless in a sense of like, no matter what, even if it's a boys club of a work environment, she stepped up and did it all, and not just did it, but excelled at it. And so, it was always so inspiring. And so I've had incredible women in my life that have just shown me that anything's possible. The same way I've had, my dad and my brother and all the supporting, the cast that along the way that we've always empowered one another. It never felt intimidating at all.
I think that's like, I do think that there's something here to like, if we were to like do a case study in that of like, I do think that when you have strong parents, strong partnership, both of them come equal to the table, it just creates like a natural form of that. So I just love that.
I'll add one more thing to that.
Yeah.
I think aside from just the intimidation, I think the other thing is there was no egos involved in it. There was no task that was beneath one of us or too good for one of us. And I think,
are you talking about me and you?
No, I'm talking about in general on my upbringing.
In your upbringing.
I think that was important, right? Because, and I think a lot of that was also through community, through our mosque, where volunteerism was important. We always gave back. We always put our time in. And, if we had to take the garbage out at a picnic, we did it. It wasn't like, oh no, I'm not doing that. It's like, hey, how can I help? And so I think a lot of that also resonated as or helped instill those values in me as I grew up, to always continue to be humble. And I think the other big part was we were always hungry. And I think that's what's the difference now. Even 17, 18 years we've been together, even as entrepreneurs through the success and so it all, I still feel hungry. And I still feel, I think the second you take your foot off the gas is like the start of your demise. And I think that's where,
when you start to get comfortable.
Yeah. And so I think it's important to continue to stay hungry, and
I have another fun question for you to kind of get back into some of the things that, I think that the audience will want to hear and I want to hear is when people ask you what your wife does, like, what do you say? If you like, what do you say? Like in like a 2-second, like you're like, oh, what does your wife do?
Oh, first thing, my face lights up in a big smile. And then I just go on a rant. I don't know how to shorten it to one's end, but so like right off the bat,
what does your wife do?
My wife is an incredible entrepreneur who's built, $1 billion business. And people are like, what? Like, what? No. And it's like, no, she's just an incredible entrepreneur who not only just like has done incredible things, but continues to inspire. So as incredible as an entrepreneur as she is, she's just as incredible as a mother. And she's also something, and I always talk about, CEO school. And I talk about how it's not even about CEO school, but it's about giving back and making an impact for what she does for women in business. And I think she's just such a great inspiration. So
thank you. That's a really awesome intro. I mean, I want to take you everywhere for that intro. I have a question for you. What is the version of me that the world doesn't get to see? Because there's a lot that everyone does get to see, and there's a lot that they don't. What is the version that they don't get to see? The good and the bad. Like, what are the versions of me that they don't get to see?
Yeah, I think that's probably something that, I can probably help you a little bit more on. But I think everybody always sees Sunny that's always turned on, like moving at 1,000,000 miles per hour, talking at 1,000,000 miles per hour. A lot of, everywhere we go or someone recognizes you or something, they stop you to, talk business or talk, first, any advice that you can give them. And it's incredible. Like it's one of the things I love best, because you really do give good points and good feedback in those scenarios. I think what people don't see is the chill Sunny where she puts her feet up on a sofa and can cuddle, or like when we go to travel Sunny, and those are the parts where like, she's not on from a work standpoint, and it's a lot of fun. Travel Sunny is the best Sunny, and I think that's
Aw.
like
What is Travel Sunny to you?
I feel like you're loose. You're like you're free from all of it. I think that's one of the I think even as we were growing up, our relationship was in its early stages, I feel like we worked just so we can afford a vacation, I still remember that website, cheapcaribbean.com, where we would find this, Wyndham Resort in Dominican Republic for $300 all inclusive with flights and whatever it is. We knew we had to save X amount to get there. And so, but I think as most people don't, I think that side where, you're relaxed, and the fun Sunny where it's just jokes and making food at home or traveling and exploring all the different cuisines, and that side is something that most people probably don't get a chance to see.
I love that. I love that Sunny too. And my favorite part about that Sunny is like I feel like I'm in my most like I do feel like I'm on and responsible all the time for everything. And then when I'm on vacation or when I'm with you or when I'm with the kids, like you're on. Like I don't have to be on. So
yeah,
like
typically you are very OCD on all of our our life movements, whether if the house is clean or this activities, and you are incredible about all of it, and it's what keeps the flywheel turning in our family. I think the beauty of why you love the vacation side is because you don't have to think about any of it, right? Which way do we have to go to Terminal B, right? You're not even thinking about that. Or what time is our flight? Or where do we got to go for a connection? Or where's our hotel? Who's picking us up? Where are we going? So I think the Sunny side becomes like relaxed Sunny, which I think that's what you truly do enjoy. And so
I agree with that. That is my favorite part. There's a couple other questions, but as you kind of made that point around the side that people like don't see, what are some of like the hardest things that you see as a spouse of a highly ambitious or, of an entrepreneur? Because the women that are listening, they're all incredible, working on the most amazing things. What do you see about the not so pretty side of like of entrepreneurship with me? And do you ever wish for it to be any different?
The reality is entrepreneurship at the level of which you're playing, like, as it's not always as sexy and amazing at all times, right? With good always comes bad. Not just from, whether it's a lawsuit or whether it's, one of your clients, wanting to charge back a service that you've already rendered for them, where things can be handled differently, or, you have a client or someone or something fails on the business side. When you're at the highest level as a CEO, what comes to your table is after your ELT or whoever else below you has not been able to put the fire out, right? So the biggest problems that could not be extinguished by someone else in your team have now come to you. So you guys typically, as a CEO, you're dealing with the largest problem. And so, constantly you're putting out fires, right? And so I know that also takes a toll, right? And not just from a business standpoint, but also managing people is not easy. When you have 300-400 employees, like, it is not easy, right? And Suneera, as anything else, like, you are the woman of the people, and so you try to do right, even if it means it may not be the popular decision, but you try to do right by your people. And I think sometimes a lot of that sacrifice doesn't really get recognized. So I think the reality is, with the good also comes the tough part of it, of being an entrepreneur, and not a lot of that gets recognized.
I appreciate you recognizing that and seeing that. And I do agree. I think that's the hardest part about entrepreneurship. It's super lonely. Like, it really is. And it's really tough decisions. And I think also like I think that the internet right now, I talk about it often, of like the reason why, and this show's been going on for 6 years, Face.
That's incredible.
It's 6 years I've been doing this, because I
Do
really
you sweat like this every time you do an episode? Because I need like a fan in here,
Oh, you're doing so good.
I don't know if it's a nervousness or just sitting next to a hot wife.
Well, thanks.
Still get butterflies in my stomach though, by the way.
I love you. This is I'm like speechless now. I forgot my train of thought.
Don't call in the big guns next time.
Oh God. Where was I? I was talking about entrepreneurship, and I was talking about
how it feels
advice.
Times,
so 6 years. 6 years.
Yeah.
I think that the amount of content that we have now, I don't think people are actually share and there are, I'm not saying that there aren't the right entrepreneurs sharing the right wisdom. Like it's just a content scheme, right?
Yeah.
Because like anyone can be an entrepreneur. Anyone can, have like their personal success, and like is it consistent? Like how
Yeah.
long have you been doing it? What are your actual real life experiences that you come from? Like so that you're actually able to give this advice to entrepreneurs. And I just feel like there just isn't enough of that out there, especially for women. And so that's like a huge part of like, me going through all these things. I do try to come back to the table here every week and be like, here's what happened. Here's what I'm learning.
Yeah, I
And
mean, look, I think especially in your circumstances, like what you do, especially here in CO school, this isn't something you need to do,
no,
right? The part of you that truly resonates with that with CO school is the impact and the changes that you actually do make with the women that you do interact with. That does change actual trajectories of the not just their families, their business, and all the things that trickle through that entire process. And so, it's incredible, and I'm sure all these women that have, where you have made impact for them could also attest to the incredible advice and things that have led to hopefully positive outcomes for themselves.
amen. That's why we're doing the thing, and I appreciate you supporting it. And with that, I'm running 2 companies, right? Literally running 2 companies. Started Worth again, working with my brother. You have to sometimes get involved
Yeah,
with me and Sal.
I feel like at times, I have to play Switzerland between the two of them because
Yes.
very type A personalities.
We're both Virgos.
And they're very both opinionated, and as sometimes people can sit from who are not accustomed to the back and forth with them can think of it as conflict, but it's actually so much progress because the reality is they're both so smart in their own ways, and and I think if they were both yes people, they wouldn't be where they are. And I think that's what actually from even conflict comes always resolution, but always progress. And I think that's such an incredible thing that you have with Sal, that it really is just, it's not just, okay, fine, he said that. Okay. No, it's true opinions, and it's back and forth, and we've got to draw it out on the white table. We do it until we figure out the best path forward. Yeah.
I love that you get to, we have this like family dynamic here. So I'm running 2 companies. I'm writing a book now. Okay. So I'm on edge, right? Because there's so much on my plate. I want to ask you, and I wrote this down because I think you do such a good job of it, but I don't think I've really ever asked you, is what does it cost you? Because I keep taking on, like, I feel like, not that we both have our ambition, yet I still have the things that I want to do, like the book, right? Like the book is definitely very personal. I want to get this out into the world, but there's a cost to it.
Yeah.
It's for our family. What does it cost you? And
a shit ton of bills with therapy, on how to manage, how to manage
therapy,
my wife,
that what?
how to manage my wife's emotions.
What therapy that we're going to, because that's not true.
No, I guess I don't know how to look at it from a cost perspective.
Like, does it cost? Like, what does it cost you?
No, it doesn't, because I think it all kind of falls back to being.
When is it annoying?
When you try to put too many things on your plate, and so what happens is that creates a lot of anxiety for you, which then trickles to a lot of anxiety in the household. And so
yeah,
I think those are the times where I'm like, hey, we need to either space out, divide and conquer, or whatever that entails. But I think, when we try to take on too much, I think that's when, that becomes stressful for the house.
I agree with that. I think that's what I do know, that when there is so much on my plate, I do feel overwhelmed, right? I feel overwhelmed, and I'm trying to and it is one of those seasons right now for us. Like right now we are in that season with the crazy amount. And that's why I'm taking a step back with so much stuff with CEO school. We could be doing so much more. And the reason why I don't, getting why it took us so long to even do the Unicorn Summit was because I just didn't have any more capacity to
like the amount you get done on a daily basis is probably equivalent to one person for like a week's worth of work, if that, maybe even more.
I agree with that.
And it's like, it's in order to play at the level of which you play at, it requires that kind of, optimizing. It requires that kind of dedication. And so I think, it's there's a reason why you are where you are. It's because you work just as hard to live this life and play at the level of which you play at.
I appreciate that. And I agree. I that's something that we're working on. I'm working on is trying to like to do the slowdown. I just don't know how to really be another way. It's that comfort level that you were saying. I I don't know where like it's hard for me to rest, you
Mhm.
know.
I mean,
And
you're
then with
always
the
at
kids,
the get shit done mentality,
I'm
right?
always
So.
at the get shit done, except for on Sundays where we practice Shabbat now. Um, let's talk about parenting for a second, because the thing that I will say, the best part of being together is not just this life that we've created, all the things that we get to do. The number one thing in our world is our girls.
Yeah,
And you are
absolutely.
literally the world's greatest father. Like this, you are literally
Well,
not
having
just a
an
great
incredible mother
spouse.
allows me to be an incredible father. But I think you're right. Those two little munchkins, and it is
And you're a girl dad. You're such
uh,
a girl dad.
it's my favorite job by far. It's there's so much to that. I think we could probably do a whole episode on just being a dad,
Well,
because
we would love to have you back on
I
further.
I can talk days about it. But
Let's talk about it.
I'll say a couple things. One, as you're younger, you can't wait till you get to an age, and maybe it was at 15, 16. You can't wait to get 21 so that you can go to nightclubs and do all the things. And then you're like, oh, I can't wait till like I can become an entrepreneur and start making money so that you can do this and this. And you're like waiting, you want time to fly so that you can get to the next step and get all this stuff, and or be able to do all this stuff. And then it's like now it's flipped. So it's flipped completely for me. It's like, we're about to celebrate our oldest daughter's 10th birthday, and it's like the time is just going too fast, and I think it's like, how do I slow everything the fuck down, because it's like it's going so fast, it's scary. And so and I think those are the things that as a dad, I try to be more intentional with the time that I have and what I say yes to, because I do need to slow things down. If I just say yes to it all, then what's going to happen is things are just going to fly by, because your time is just, it's so busy and it just goes and goes. And I think I'm trying to be more intentional so I can make the time for my family, my wife, my kids, to enjoy those moments, because I know those days are numbered and that's going to go extremely fast. So yeah, I think there's like, that part is probably my biggest fear. I think the biggest commodity we all have is time, and it's irrelevant of how successful you are, but it's like, how do you make the most of the time that you have left?
That was so beautifully said, Faisal. That was incredible. And I fully agree with you. I think it's crazy. That's like our biggest thing is like they're growing up so fast. I will say though, is it because of I think one, we share like literally the same values of how we both grew up in our families. And I think raising of like our family together has been really easy in that way, because there's never been one disagreement like about the importance of like the kids. Like the
Yeah,
kids are like
absolutely.
above everything for you and I. And they go everywhere with us. Like we really, even as we've built everything in our lives, I can like I can say 100% that sure, we've made sacrifices along the way. We've, made all kinds. I don't think we've ever sacrificed our kids. And I can go back to every moment that I felt like I was drowning with like, something that like the story that's coming to my head right now. And I was, scaling Fat Merchant. We were downtown Orlando, and I was driving, and Anna was just born. So now we have two, and like two kicks your butt in parenting. Like one was like, we had all of like,
Especially in the beginning, right?
yeah, like,
And
but
especially when you're working and you're an entrepreneur, and you have guilt around not having enough time with your little ones, or all the things.
but we had all the help, right? We had all the
Yeah.
help. We had our parents and everything. And like we had like one baby in the family. So Mila got like all of this attention, and it felt a lot easier in that, like the first go around of it. Then the second one came around, and she was like, and it wasn't about, it's just like we were like man on man now, right? Like that was like a huge shift of like going from like 1 to 2 was like a huge exponential like feeling. And we always wanted to make sure that it was like one of us always there. So even though we had all of the help, our kids have always been with one of us
Absolutely.
always. And so when it was man on man, and like the company at that time for me Like we were scaling really fast. It was probably when we crossed like over 60, 70 employees. Like things were, it was moving, it was big, it was hard. And something, and this was, right before the pandemic happened, but, downtown Orlando and where we lived in South Orlando, it was like a 15-minute drive. Like it wasn't long, but traffic at 5 o'clock to get home took me an hour to get home. And every day, and I was 100% like postpartum, I went back to work right away because I had all of this stuff and I felt supported in all the things. And I would come home crying every single day. Every single day I would be crying because all I went on, I would fall asleep, or I wasn't able to give her the bath time, or I wasn't able. And I felt for the first time where I felt like I was really sacrificing like time with her. And I couldn't do it. Like I just remember being like at my worst in both places.
Yeah.
And I think like the second, like it was like it kept happening, and it was like the third week where I was just in shambles. And what did you do? You literally picked me up from work. It was like a random Tuesday that next week, and you walked me to a house that was right down the street from our office.
Yeah, we had just built a new home.
We built a brand new home
Yeah, in
in
less
Dr.
than
Phillips.
6 months into this home, and just watching what was happening with the commute and the toll it was taking. Well, yeah, we ended up buying another house just close to downtown. Yeah.
We literally bought a home. You literally walked me into a home, and I was like, we weren't even looking. This was not even a thing we were talking about. I didn't even think of this as an option. And you're like, we're going to place an offer today as long as you like, you're like, I just want to show you this home, and we're going to place an offer today.
Yeah. It changed it.
And it was it. I'm like, and you really always made that happen for me so that I didn't have to feel that I had to give anything up.
It's one team, one dream. And so that's like, and those are you have to, it's not even about recognizing it. It's also about doing something about it. Right. And I think that's the beauty of what we've achieved along our journey, is that it's making actual moves to make changes or adapt to environments in which our circumstances entail in those moments. So I think yeah, I do remember that it was a crazy thing, and I was like, is this too crazy of a thought process? And looking back at it, it's the best decision we ever made.
It's the best decision we ever made.
I think it changed the entire landscape of our future.
Our whole life now, and this is like, I think one of the best parenting tips ever, is within a 3-mile radius of work, school, home, everything. Our community, everything is within a 3-mile radius, where we are literally one quick second away. Like right now, even the studio that we're in right now, like every single thing, we've built our lives around our family.
Yeah.
Like we've literally built our whole lives around our family. And I love you for that. And I do think that is the reason why I do think it's a huge part of my success, because I think that motherhood was so important to me too. Like it wasn't a this or. My ambition would never come, like my kids are always first.
Absolutely.
And so I do think that because I was able to, I think for a lot of women, it feels like it's such a sacrifice. And so when we have to choose, we're gonna choose our kid.
Yeah.
Right. And so for me, I was able to do it all. Yeah. And that's why I really fundamentally believe, I really hate the advice that women get that we can't have it all. We can. We just have to design our lives this way. And we do have to say no. We say no to so many things because this is what's important. And we integrate our kids. They're like the coolest kids ever too. Like our kids
I will say something, it's like, you don't need a partner to have it all. But when you have a supporting partner, and I think that's also something that,
damn, Faisal, that was so well said too. You don't need a partner to have it all.
No, you don't. But I think having the supporting partner just makes it fun along the way. And it's not that you can't do it all, but it just, when you have someone that's your biggest cheerleader and also support structure that that's gonna have your back, and it goes both ways. Everything I've done, a lot of that has been because knowing that I have, we have each other. And so I think it kind of makes you want to push further and harder. And so I think that's important. And you know,
What do you want our daughters to absorb from watching our parent, like watching you in entrepreneurship? You could be taking a break right now too. I could be taking a break. I don't know. What do you want our daughters to really gain from watching not only entrepreneurship, but also like in our partnership? Like what do you want the girls to see and learn from us?
I think it's a two-part answer for me. I think one, sky's the limit. And I think there's ways to kind of help see that through. I think showing them how hard we work and incorporating them into what we're doing was such a big part of my upbringing. So even when we did Unicorn Summit, we had them, lead the swag merchandise store where they took off from school for 3 days, and they would come. They set up shop during the summit. They were selling. I mean, Mila, I commend her. Like she, and they both did. Mila and Anna both. They embraced the role. They took it seriously, and they worked. They worked 8 hours each day, and they sold a lot of swag.
$10,000 worth of swag that's in their account.
But I think the biggest thing is to make sure that we protect them from the entitlement, where they don't feel like they understand, and they understand that it takes work, it takes dedication. You put your mind to something to see it through, and I think the biggest lesson I've learned as a dad, as of recent, as the more I've kind of over the past few years, it's not about telling our kids what to do. It's about asking them the right questions. And even if that means they're going to fail, you have to let them fail. But as a parent, that's the hardest thing to do. And I think, as I've learned, if we're gonna teach them true independence, they have to learn to figure it out. And we can't just do it for them. We have to ask them the right questions so that they can kind of get to the conclusion themselves. But I think that's the hardest thing, that as a dad, like as a parent in general, you always want to be like, you want to come to their rescue and do it all. But really, you got to let them figure it out on their own. And I think asking the right questions is the best piece of advice I'll give to any parent for their kids, in my opinion.
I love that. And I think that's what we do. I think my favorite thing about our day, my favorite part about my day is roses and thorns.
Yeah.
Like every night, roses and thorns.
Yeah.
We sit down, and mealtime is still like, it's really sacred in our family. Like everybody
absolutely
sits at the table. And I think we both grew up that way. And so it's hard. It's not like, it's easier sometimes to just be like, okay, we'll do takeout and we'll just sit on the island. And I'm not discounting, the nights that needs to happen, but it doesn't. Like our house, we plan our meals on Sunday. The kids are involved in it. We cook every single day together, and things are organized and done. So it doesn't feel like, we do our best to like not make it a huge headache, but we sit down at the table, have a meal, and then we go around and we ask the girls, and each of us, like even they get to ask us, like, what was our high of the day? What was our low of the day? And we get to know what happened in each other's days, and it's my favorite part of the day.
I couldn't agree more. It's like, not every day is a good day, right? There's stress in our days, the ups, downs, and, the girls have the same thing. They have their ups and they have their downs throughout the day. But I think the beauty of it all is we get to communicate with one another and kind of recognize the ups and downs of each other's days. And it's like, I'm not saying it's therapy, but it's a great way to communicate it out and share it and get it off your chest, which I think is such a great lesson to teach our girls. And it actually probably gives me more joy than it probably does for them. But it's one of my favorite parts of the day, is looking forward to us sitting down for dinner. So
I love it. You're super dad, and we really do divide and conquer the house stuff, the school stuff. Like I actually would say you do so much more of the logistics in our kids' lives than I do, from like football sign up to this is what's happening. Not that I'm not involved in all the school stuff, but I think from a management of their calendar of like what we're doing, what we're signing up for, what's all of that, you are just hands down a true partner there.
And I feel it's only going to get crazier as they get older, with the more activities already, and the more sports and the more friends and all the above. So I think it's also important for us to be, and continue as parents to be engaged and involved in what's happening, because it comes, I'm sure at a certain age group it becomes a slippery slope. And so I think the best way to, one of the fears that I was talking about earlier, the entitlement and all of the above, like the reality is, like, it requires parenting. It requires being part of your kids' lives and building relationships, having to, not fearing away from hard conversations with them, and being open to all the questions that they may have, and being honest with them, right? And so there are certain things that maybe are uncomfortable topics of conversation, but there's ways to talk through it. And you have to trust your instinct and what you want to communicate and share, and how you want to, you got to choose your words wisely. So I think it's important.
I think you're doing an incredible job. I think we're doing a great job at that. And it's not getting, it's work. All of it is work. Marriage is work too. I want to close up this episode with a little bit of like a fun lightning round. So we've talked about all the topics that I wanted to kind of get through. So thank you, Faisal, for sitting through this with me. And we'd love to have you back. You have such good, like, there's so much knowledge to share, by the way. Like, this is really exciting for not just for me, but for our audience. And if you love it, please screenshot this episode right now, tag Faisal, and let's send him some love. And let's share it on social, share it with a dad that you want to share it with your spouse, share it with your partner as well. And other women that, need to hear this episode. Okay. So for the lightning round, or for just a little bit of fun, I want to ask you, what is the most founder or CEO thing that I do at home that drives you crazy?
I think it's,
I don't know what you're going to say. Just say it.
yeah, I think it's like over calendar every single
Okay.
thing of our life, whether it's,
Fair.
every single, we literally get a 12-month calendar, and we go through each month, each week, and we figure out pockets of time for one another, pockets of what work looks like, putting, big things that are not movable into play. But it's like there's pros and cons to it all, but I think that is definitely one of them.
I understand that. I am definitely crazy about that. And I don't know, it's the only way for me. There's so much stuff that we have to do, so many trips, work stuff, your work stuff. Like, it's a lot to manage. And we have a really great process. We do it
Yeah.
for like the year. Then every quarter we sit down, we review it for the quarter. Every month we review it for the month. And every Sunday we review it for the week. Like, our Sunday Zoom out meeting has been like super consistent. But yes, I apologize for that as well. What am I genuinely terrible at?
Oh man, I feel like I'm gonna bite myself here in the foot. There's nothing you're terrible at,
No,
Suneera.
okay, just say it. What am I terrible at?
Um, turning off the lights once you go into a room.
Fair.
You will never turn off the lights
Fair.
ever. I'm like, yeah, no, I can't. I'm not gonna dig further into this question, or else I'll dig
I thought you were going to
myself
say
further.
directions, because that's something you comment on
Oh,
often.
you are awful. Sometimes you're not the best at being aware of your surroundings. Let's say that.
Yeah. You are always on me about my surroundings and direction. And
If it wasn't for Google Maps, she would just be going in circles.
likely, I do need Google Maps for everything. Even if I've been there like 100 times, I need my Google Maps. A moment, this is a sweet one. A moment you were quietly proud of me and never, ever said it out loud. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't, just a moment.
I would say the incredible stories that you give our kids every single night for bedtime. It's probably one of the most incredible things that it just melts my heart. It's so creative. It resonates so well with them. They're laughing, they're crying, but it's always an incredible journey that you take them on every single one of your bedtime stories. And so I probably don't tell you enough about that, but it's something that I love that you do with our kids.
I love that. That is really sweet. You've never shared that with me, and my stories are really fun. There's a lot of work in those stories, and now I've
Yeah.
like it's a problem because I can't get a night off
Well,
because
stop being so good at it.
I got to
then.
be so good at it. All right, 2 more questions and we're wrapping this up. What do you want the audience to know about me that I'd never say myself?
You are probably, it's the most not under, let me choose these words. I think people don't recognize how much fun you are when you go out on a night of drinking with her. Like to go out and hang out with Sunny for just to have fun. The night, you just never know where the night's gonna go, and it's always just a great time.
Oh, I'm fun. That's what he wants you guys to know, that I'm not serious all the time. I like being fun,
Yeah.
Sunny. Why am I not? I'm like, now I'm thinking, I'm like, why am I not being fun right now?
No, I mean, because
No.
no, I don't mean you're not. From a work standpoint or how
Yeah,
you show
yeah,
up
yeah.
online, it's very
Yeah, it's
business oriented.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that you don't show the fun side, but I think when people, if they ever get time to spend with you, the ones that do, like our friends and whoever, like it's always a fun time. So I think maybe online, or maybe some people may not know that, but I think that's something that's really incredible when they do get a chance to hang with you or have cocktails for happy hour, maybe they get a chance to see that side more.
And the final question to round out this episode, we just want you to finish the sentence. Being married to Suneera is
An adventure.
I like that. Well, there you have it, everyone. Mr. Fazail Madhani, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence again on the CEO School podcast.
Thank you for having me back. This was a lot more fun than I expected, actually. So.
You know what? This is really, do you want to start a podcast?
Yeah. Let's table that.
We definitely have to have you back. There are so many more questions that I have for you. I think you have so much wisdom to share. I just want to say I love you. I appreciate you. I couldn't do life without you. I feel so lucky that we've found each other, that we're building our lives together. And I really hope this for our daughters too. Like that's my wish for them, is to find whoever they love, is for them to have the love that you love me in that way.
We work hard, we play hard. This life that we built and we put work into is something that is the number one thing that I cherish. And I do think that we embody one team, one dream. And I think because of that, we're having fun along the way. We work hard, but we play hard and we have fun. I mean, what's the point of living life if you're not laughing and having fun? So,
well, thank you so much for being here today. And I can't wait to have you on another episode. Happy Father's Day. And you're just incredible. You're an incredible dad. And shout out to all the dads for Father's Day, all the incredible husbands that not only support us and our children as equal partners, but as, just in everything in business and in life. Until next week on the CEO School podcast, I will see you on we've moved the episodes now to Wednesdays, so we have a little bit more time to get it out on social and share it with you. We are 6 years into the show and your reviews matter so much. Please take 2 minutes and rate this episode. It really would mean the world to me and to Faisal as well. Screenshot this, share it, tag us. And we'd love for you to also participate in the conversation. If you have questions that we didn't get to answer today, DM me, DM Faisal, and I'm sure he'll be responding to our audience. Just say you're listening from the CEO School podcast, and I'll be sharing them as well. I'll see you until next time on CEO School. Bye, everyone.